with regions like Poland as an example, where they kind of didn't foster talent. Sweden as another example, where like, you know, you didn't really try and bring up too many new players, and so then it was like too little too late when you were looking for those changes, those new players to bring into the spotlight. It feels like a lot of regions now are trying to get ahead of that by focusing, especially during online play, at bringing new people into the mix. But let's take a look at the pistol, because this game's underway now. We've actually spoken all the way through to this second map. This is a first for us. And,
and it's it happens.
Yeah, no, man, I like it. I think we could just chat for days, man, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you know, can't fault anyone. We're all talkers over here. But I like it as well, right? I also think, you know, getting a chance to play under the MIBR brand, we have to remember that, you know, they also cover the Brazilian coverage in most of the cases, and they have a massive following. So, you know, right off the bat, as soon as you join MIBR, you kind of tend to become a profile of sorts. And I think the problem that the Brazilian scene has had, obviously, we've had two big teams, but I've always felt the Furia is the one team that kind of builds up the development pieces. So nice to see that we have both of these two teams doing the same. And maybe we're getting the bomb down here now, though. 4-on-3 situation. Bolt is low, though. Someone with some nades. A tough spot to be in still, though, if you're heroic. Oh, especially after that. That was a nice shot by SHC.
That's why you get the P250, man.
More and more, I mean, I'm super bullish on it. I mean, it's $300, right? And especially on like a pistol, if you're tiziaN, you're talking like the long distance duels. Like the Glocks will do a really good job in ensuring the close quarters, but having like a P250 just for long distance duels of getting a kill or two helps a lot.
I'm a huge fan of it.
Get some more. Yeah, they all go down though, so at least, you know, when we think about advantage money and whatnot, you know, all 5 members of MIBR go down, still get the bomb down though, and a round win. But in terms of next round, we're going to see most likely heroic buying up here. Based on that, it'll be pretty competitive.
Man, I'm not even kidding. If you want to be the guy that everyone loves in pugs, just be the guy who drops a P250, buys a flash, buys himself a P250, and you'll just be forever loved. Because honestly, I feel like having the P250 armorless is even pretty sick, you know, like just because you kind of are so mobile, you're so good in those long distance fights, and it adds like an element of surprise almost, you know, like a lot of teams on their CT side are quite keen to take a long-range gunfight, you know, like knowing that for a Glock to beat them, it's that double headshot or, you know, headshot body shot combo that's going to be needed. And so a lot of the time, you know, you kind of get given opportunities in that pistol round with a P250 that you wouldn't normally get in any other round, right? Where like USPs might overface to challenge banana or challenge top mid. It just adds a lot of versatility to what you're able to do.
Absolutely. Especially like you're saying, on long distance maps as well. Inferno, Overpass, Nuke, Train. I mean, I think you make the argument for almost every map you can buy a P250 on one player at least. But yeah, as we talked about, we see heroic here. Obviously going for that B stack instead. 4 guys there, a lot of utility. Scout on Cadian, and he's the sole player here on this A bomb site towards that archway. So MIBR does a good job here with the gamble of picking the A bomb site. This should be a safe call right off the bat from heroic. You can always use these weapons and armors for next round and still do a lot of damage. Still want to be grouped up here though, even if they want to try and go for something. Two good first rounds here from MIBR. So very fast, like I said, anti-eco. I love that approach as well, going fast archway, not stopping. Yell and Danico in the lead there with the Mac 10s as well. And for them, you can even see as well, there's no reason for them to kind of chase. You could make the argument knowing as well the heroic kind of bot that sure you could maybe want to go and chase with the SMGs for a bit of a easier next round. But it's not going to happen, so we kind of see the same thing. Heroic gets another chance, essentially, with his force buy for this round. And another gamble stack, I'm sure is about to happen.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those types of anti-ecos as well. Like, if they're done well, I think Archer is one of the best options. And in this situation, you know, it's really good to see that MIBR get to sort of, because again, they're coming in as definitely the underdogs, and so it's great to see them on the T side get the beginning that the start that they want. They get to condition their opponents. They get to kind of play their game. It's easier to kind of see what they're going for, as opposed to being on the receiving end of just heroic dominating and dictating the pace. And so already, you know, we need to take note of, you know, how is it that MIBR are setting the pace? Where are they putting emphasis on the map? What is the, you know, pacing of the utility as well? And it's very, they've been very cautious. Obviously, it's still pistols here, but it looks kind of default-ish from them. Trying to get that information. We've got that stack of top mid, so that's something that can really punish the top mid default timing, which is coming in. Only one player on arch side, because that's going to be smoked off.
And we'll see if they're going to be cautious here. They obviously, like you said, have a lot of nades here, and they have been a little bit relatively smart here with using their utility. Opting for arch as well, but we know that one guy is boosted. Yep, he's going to get spotted. But just the fact that it's just daNiko going down here, and with MIBR being so fast on the rotate back to B, that's a really nicely played smoke by Cadian, keeping that smoke and just staying at the B bomb side as well. You look at it now, MIBR really doesn't know what to do with themselves. Storage, 4-on-3 situation still, but they're basically everywhere. 25 seconds left. The call is made now. Let's just go B. The smoke's about to fade. And at least they have 2 smokes to their name. One goes CT spawn. The other one might go schools. Still a possibility here from Heroic. 2-on-2 situation. No kit though. Smoke on niko. Both the MIBR players is on the site.
It's looking quite scary. It will get shut down in the end. Man, after losing daNiko, as you said, it still didn't seem too bad. But then as they made the call after losing daNiko, realizing that there was a stack towards that top mid area, they were cycling out to a fast B hit. Then I think, who was it? I think Stavn maybe, who swung out top mid with a deagle and then popped, I believe it was Cello who was carrying the bomb, which meant that they had to, they lost their timing to hit B, had to go back and get the bomb, and then they're floating around. That was so scary.
Running back and forth, yeah. Works out though nonetheless, and still have with 2 players left, so a lot of money here. It's a nice little entry from Cadian though. It's going to be a fast round from MIBR, looking to get mid control fast at least. But with that instead, they don't clear the corner. It's a nice crossfire setup for Heroic here. Chaos ensues, but it's still a 3-on-2 situation with Yell being very low.
Oh, that's a gnarly little shot from boltz, and that's delivered a 2-on-2, a very, very doable 2-on-2. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like that a lot. It's grimy, it's ratty, and that's what you need if you want to win this kind of round. This flank could do everything. boltz, oh man, is he going to do it to them? They're not considering it at all. Oh, he misses the timing. Yell needs to stay alive. One's down in the pit with him. Uh-oh, he slipped the net. He's got it in, and Yell gets dropped, but there's so little time, and with the bomb planted where it is, it's not going to happen for Borup, is it? boltz can just play around that bomb. Oh, the molly in the pit. It's like a Doja Molotov. Oh, that's so smart. Man, adding insult to injury, there's no saving. He would have had to stood in the Molotov, so his choice was die to the molly or die to the bomb. That's brutal.
I mean, it might not be a vac meter here, but I feel like it should be a 400 IQ meter, because that was sick. Yeah, that was a round that was looking very like the Heroic. I mean, the position's there, but we didn't have anyone on the bomb side. And when Tessus goes down the way he does, 2-on-2 situation, and I mean, lovely work from MIBR there. 4-0 up now. They got, I think, 7 or 8 T rounds versus Faze. One time we've seen them play INFERNO, I think, so far this event. And another half buy for Heroic here now. Default setup 3-2. It's a bit of a push into Boiler. Gets the trade.
Heavy focus on Banana right now in this anti-half-buy situation for MIBR, and I like it. I mean, they can just go in with their nades and just be confident in the XANTARES, especially now that you don't have an extra player to play info. You don't really want to get caught moving around the map. Just go in together. It's a great pick. Rotation's starting to come in from niko. No nades though to really defend. Tessus has a flash, but he's pushing second mid now. So the problem is that MIBR could create an anti-timing for themselves if they just keep waiting. And they are still just waiting for these smokes to dissipate.
Yeah,
and
just look
time
at
is being
Tessus
bought
here.
for Tessus, who has an AK and a flash. So this is a very big problem at this point.
I think timing, though, is going to be in MIBR's favor. We look at it right now. It might just be Cello being caught. But Tessus is actually waiting. 20 seconds left now on the clock. And obviously, both of the members of her are going down on the bomb site. Tessus should just be saving at this point. I feel like at the one point where Heroic, we wanted them to be aggressive here, and there's one round there, they don't go aggressive. They just hold the angle instead.
Yep, totally agree. And I wonder if
Still go down.
If Tessus could have had, I think he had timing to be more aggressive as well. Looking at the time on the clock.
That's what I mean. 20 seconds. They wouldn't have never had time to kind of fall back there. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the smoke was just about to fade too. But
yeah, so it was a half buy anyway. So can't have too high of an expectation, all things considered. And yeah, we continue with this good start. So Harry, yeah, it's looking good so far. You know, for your prediction to maybe come true.
I'm feeling pretty good about it right about now. You know, like it's still early days, right? Still
early days, you know. But they're 5-0 up. Sure, T side is a little bit stronger, but I think you know, again, not going to jinx anything. But based on the prediction you've made, we have now kind of gone to a point where you are no longer allowed to retract that.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. I got no plans on Balin.
So now you're good. Flash on the MIBR train.
Yeah, I'm on board, man. Let's get it. Full speed ahead. Oh, and there's Yell with the opener. Can always rely on him, man. Can always rely on this AWP. Look at this little dude. Ooh, Tess says they know that you're there, buddy. He has to hop down, get away from the balcony. This bomb is over here towards the apartments as well, but a lot of MIBR still waiting down towards T-ramp, making sure that banana regression hasn't come through, and it hasn't. But you know what has happened? They've rotated everyone on the side of Heroic around towards this A-bomb site. And so this is where this decision to keep these players at T-ramp can now really bail you out of like potentially walking into that stack, right? MIBR are going back because they've always held on to this map control. They're clearing out banana. That's a nice boost to gimmick a 4-on-4. And that's going to reapply some pressure to MIBR. I think up until now, their plan was just to hit the B site. This is throwing a kind of element of doubt into the mix because you're worried that Heroic got that information from the boost. And so they're not going to commit to B. They actually go back up through mid and they send one man towards that B site alone in the form of Yell.
SHZ ready to strike here as the push comes in. He might get a great timing. See, Tessus is worried about it. Actually repositions so that he can't get caught by this. Perfectly timed repositioning onto the site. However, difficult to hold these spots for too long. We'll have to see though, because there's not too many numbers for the trade game. That is so important from Yell and SHZ as well, taking down Tessus. They didn't even have to trade because nobody died. That's just so awesome from MIBR. Heroic forced into those really deep positions. They had to get the frags, and MIBR able to punish them massively.
Yeah, and I really like that approach from Heroic, even though one man down up to just go all in one bomb site, and the same thing there on when you do the eco calls as well. If they hit the B bomb site, then you just save all the 4 weapons, so you have a really strong buy for next. Those are very, very nicely done round by MIBR, despite the fact that Stavn got that boost there and saw the bomb. So much money now into the hands of MIBR, keeping 3 more members alive here as well. Bolts on 11k. Cadian not really getting any payout of the AWP he's been buying so far. Yeah, I mean, this comes back into MIBR taking their sweet time. You know, we saw that stack from Heroic in the beginning, but just because they ran down the clock and he kind of lost track of him there. Came back in position because of the entry there as well. So 2 weapons saved, 2 AUGs on niko and Borup. Some nades on the side as well. The other side of the Heroic members, and a fast banana take. quickly traded. Now we kind of quiet down the round again. Heroic still has banana control. We look at how much utility they've spent, and one more smoke is going to go down, so even more so utility. And we then compare that to MIBR. All they have to really do here, even if they want to end up on going banana late, is what I've been talking about. Just really, most of the time, so one flashbang, go together, make sure the trades are in order. And that's really what they're waiting for the smokes to fade. And this is when we kind of see MIBR retaking banana control. With a defensive smoke, you normally do this just to cover off the logs first and stuff like that. You get into position and then you do the other swipe, which is a little bit safer.
Oh, I love this from Heroic. I mean, if you look at what they've had to work with here, it feels like they've gotten so much mileage. And look what it's done too. It's effectively shut MIBR out of banana. It's killed enormous amounts of time. And with that, it leaves no options for MIBR. They have to go to A at this point. And Heroic know that, so they have 3 players here. They've set themselves up, but that's a stunning entry from SAZ. It's followed up by niko, but the trades continue. However, Stavn is very weak. teziaN is by himself in mid, so he can't stop the plant from happening. jaCkz can fall back to that plant, to his teammate, to a defensive setup. And teziaN is trying to beat the timing for the reposition. He's not going to be quick enough here, and jaCkz, he's going to be in such a strong spot when he hops up on that box. Oh, can't get it, but the trade's ready from boltz. I love that from boltz and jaCkz. And MIBR 7-0 now.
Yeah, super.
Is it still early days?
Yeah, it's still early, but you're right there. I mean, Heroic does a really good job there with the banana control initially, forces MIBR to go A here, but like this is a nice entry from SHZ. I mean, this, you really were just expecting niko to just be baiting there for Cadian, but when he goes down, it's just puts Cadian in a really bad spot. He gets the 1, but after that, bomb site is wide open. But as we know, it was a half buy with 2 saved weapons. This is, again, another full weapon round from Heroic. Cadian on the AWP went towards B this round. Defensive position.
Ooh.
Nice nade.
Yeah, nice double nade. Took a lot of damage out of from jaCkz and cello. And
sure, it's just round 8, but we also talk, Inferno is notorious for being a utility damage map. And normally if utility tends to be low, we can probably compare that as well compared to Heroic's 0 CT rounds. I can maybe guess that utility damage across the board from Heroic probably is pretty low compared to where they want them to be. Another just slow default here from MIBR, which is fine, right? It's been working out, and we've noticed as well that Heroic has been wasting quite a few nades early on in the half so far. It's really the first round we see them trying to hold off some of the nades. Actually have quite a decent amount to hold off a potential push here. 40 seconds left.
no time here. The issue inside is forced, and Heroic know it. They've got a decent enough setup, but they are all the way far back here. So if the entries go MIBR's way, of course, there's really no time for the rotation to do too much, as the site will be lost immediately. But that's a great start there. Double from niko, taking down both jaCkz and cello. But however, jaCkz crept onto the site. He's causing problems here, but nothing that Borb cannot handle with the help of his teammates. And that's going to be the first Danish round on the board here for Heroic. And I mean, early days. You know, there's still the possibility for them to come out with more rounds than this half.
They got 17 rounds versus Faze, you know, so like never say never. It could still be an 8-7 here. But I think MIBR has been looking pretty good here on this T side so far. Heroic hasn't really gotten into it in terms of economy, so that was a really good round for them to win. Let's see, trying to keep in mind on where Cadian goes. He went back to B this round again. See, probably after Molotov, we'll probably see him maybe taking a more of an aggressive angle, but around the same place that he was last round. Another good nade onto jaCkz, 52 HP left after that. Another slow and steady round. Not a lot of movement happening, and same thing goes for Heroic, right? We talk about their utility usage. They are very frugal when it comes to that right now, which is nice, since MIBR has not liked to take map control fast.
Yeah, real slow on this approach through the apartments. And this has given a little bit of room for Heroic to kind of push and prod the banana. And that's now led to an early rotation around. So there's suddenly 4 players here in this A bomb site. It's that much harder now to take if you are MIBR because of how slow this this creep into top mid has been. So these entries have got to come pretty cleanly, pretty flawlessly at that. They dodge the players in the site thanks to this smoke, but it is, however, hiding a lot of bad guys for MIBR. There it is. They deal with everyone. And honestly, considering they walk into a stacked bomb site there, the utility is great at separating those fights. Like, you know, if you're MIBR, it never felt like you were walking into a 4-man stack. The moto smoke went down, that cut off the 4th man that rotated in for Heroic. Then the site smoke to keep 2 players separated. So you never get to run that site to pit crossfire that can be so strong. Instead, it's essentially MIBR separating every single one of those fights into like a series of 1v1s. And so that was really nice with the utility to get them through that.
Yeah, they got a lot of individual duels there. Even the last guy that was left on the bomb site for Heroic got cleared out as well. So nicely done with the flashbangs and the smokes.
I think this has to be a signal to Heroic that they can't be giving up. They have to play for top mids a bit more aggressively, and maybe they don't have to think about banana as much, but they need to play for top mids because every time, or most, I think the majority of the time, MIBR have been able to just coordinate onto the A site. They've been pretty successful actually getting the entries, finding the value to get that bomb planted. And Heroic haven't had a huge amount. I mean, this was one round where they were able to defend all those far back positions, but MIBR have been forcing them back there very quickly, and that gives a lot more space for MIBR to work the map. So we'll see how Heroic adapts as time goes on. But this is a critical round for them because they've got double orbs. There's one of them. And if they lose this round, they're completely broke. So they've really got to find a conversion here. And it looks like after losing the apartments player, MIBR might go for a fast timing B. Heroic haven't rotated an extra player just yet. So it could be a good timing. Stavn will peel away one more.
Oh, Borup with the big tuck back into oranges, hides himself away, doesn't get traded. And Yell, he might just have to go for the minute-long save. Now, normally, you know, saving ain't too exciting, but when there's a minute left on the clock, he's going to get hunted. They're going to go looking for him to take this AWP away, and they hear the footsteps as well. They know he's running out of this round, trying to hold on to this AWP. Should be dead. Should be... Oh, he's done it. He's gotten past them. As to run the gauntlet again, essentially, right? Look, they're mirroring each other up through mid. Oh, that door not open, and so Yell gets by. It's like cat and mouse, man. He's surely screwed, right? They know where he was. They all want a piece of the action. Yell, he's been able to elude them, and he's heard the footsteps of this man going into the bedroom as well.
That would be nuts if he just walks past him here. Oh, here we go. Oh, he actually goes for the kill. I'm not sure about that. He could have just avoided the guy instead. I mean, he has, I guess, just 10 seconds left. He's definitely going to get away here. Yeah, that's sneaky, man. A minute save. Great hold by Heroic. I actually really like that approach by MIBR as well. They lose the man advantage early, so why try and go for some... So you haven't really done any fast plays, so quick mid-round B take. And to Dan's point, double op setup from Heroic, and that definitely paid off there. Stavn holding that B bomb site. 8-2 now. And the money that MIBR had built up is now gone. SHZ have $1,900 left in the bank, but he has the most. So important round here from MIBR, or they're going to be forced on probably a save or a low buy round. Heroic can afford themselves one round loss at the moment and still can afford, can still buy. Based on where the half is at the moment, you can argue that maybe Heroic really needs a few more rounds on the board here.
How much do Heroic want? But how long are they around? Still might be able to pick
here with the one guy. We're going to see an expo flash here as well. Either depending on Stavn's contact or if they just want to push if there's some movement in mid from MIBR. But I can't see them standing like this forever.
Yeah, Yes, it's quite a huge investment to have when you don't know where the rotation is for MIBR just yet. So there's that flash you're talking about, the peek from boropz. He didn't actually see anything. Bolz was hidden at that time. So Bolz could use this. He could start lurking up, actually, as his teammates take top mid. And that could be a pretty huge moment. Stavn is the perfect counter to a lurk play, as you can just sit there with the scoped AWP. But it looks like there's a lot of uncertainty here for Heroic, because they do keep boropz on that B site. And 30 seconds now to play. A way slower pace from MIBR. We'll have to see if it's going to... Oh, they're going back to B now with the bomb with 20 seconds left. The rotation's coming, so they're going to go for a split through spawn. Oh my god, Tessus annihilates one half, and the other half is left to Stavn, who does pretty much the same.
What a ballsy call from MIBR to make when there's so little time left. You're essentially just forced to just jump through arch there instead of having a smoke. Solid from Heroic though. And as I pointed out, that was a round that MIBR probably wanted to win in terms of economy. We're not looking in good shape. And for Heroic to keep all these members alive, it's great for their economy as well. And normally when you do archway plays like this, you tend to make a little bit more noise in banana of your showcase that, hey, we're in banana, of people, they just assume that you're going to be a banana take. That way leaving arch a little bit more open. Tactical is called. Looking at MIBR's money here. Not great. They could do a low buy here with some nades, I guess, and try and get a bomb plant and just do some damage. It's not going to be anywhere near the firepower and utility that they want. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a low buy, just pistols here. No nades or no nades either, not even a flashbang here. So just looking to do a bit of damage maybe. And it's a ballsy play from Heroic here. Especially knowing that this should be on a save. CeRq does a nice trade, nice 1D.
Not much to do here with these pistols. jaCkz the man with the firepower, but can he get himself any position to work with? Stavn is just it's a juggernaut with this AWP. Cannot be stopped. There's that swing with the AK. It's being handed off now to CeRq.
Oh. Wow. Hits the tag there as well. SHC is up in mid here though. Hoping to maybe make some noise at least, showcase himself. He was hoping a little bit more that Heroic would do a bit more rotate, and actually it does happen. Very surprising, 4-on-3 situation. You know they're on a save. Normally you do opt for like a 2-2 setup, a little bit more safer. This is not too bad of a position from Heroic. I would have been more worried if they had one guy in B sites, but the fact that he's in spawn, it's down there. The one hole that they have, I saw the A-bomb site a little bit, but yeah, the timing.
That's a huge bit of timing to hit. You know, with 20 seconds, it still shouldn't like save the day or anything too dramatic, but can at least be used to take down some of these players in the back line. Only gets one from it. It's a shame, right? Because SHC doesn't know it, but he actually has access to that timing for a good while. If he'd pushed that a little sooner, he would have been able to help with the B hit. Instead, he's coming in when there's like 12 seconds left on the clock, right? You're never really going to be too handy, especially when you only got one man left down at banana. But yeah, he had access to that timing at long for a long old while. Not that he could have known it. And I think he was always paranoid about there being a player at Arch, right, holding on to that wrap. And then he realizes with the scope that actually, no, the AWP is over towards Library. Big skirmish over here at Banana, and it's left even early on in a 4-on-4.
Oh man, gets a trade there as well. Now Heroic in a bad spot with 2 ops. Stavn is pretty aggressive down a banana here though, which is why we see the rotate coming in from Bur up here towards A. I like this play from Cadian as well. It is a 3-on-3, but you don't really know where you have him, and in typical heroic fashion, as we saw in Vertigo, they do like to play a very aggressive. Stavn is already down in mid as well, essentially down in banana.
Very nice, very nice. Able to now take their control of that B side. Cadian in a spot where he could try to do some damage with this AWP if he wanted to try to worsen the economy. Awful for MIBR, but it's quite a stretch. He doesn't really have position currently. There's too many, I think, question marks along the way to finding any exits, even passive.
Yeah, with 2 rounds left to go as well, with 6.5k, I think it's a good thing to save here. Kind of guarantees you to buy at least for the last 2 rounds. Same can't be said, obviously, for niko with $1,400. So if they want to, we can still see a double up setup here next round. But I like that from MIBR. They kind of just get some entries to slow down the pace. We see then the aggressive play coming in from Heroic. I am surprised, I will say. I like the play from Cadian pushing mid, but I don't like the play of both of them pushing essentially 2 spots, because obviously they have to go somewhere. And by them pushing mid and banana, essentially, unless they come there, the only place they could really come from is apps. But there's no trade potential anywhere on this map at the same time. Which, when this happens, then it just opens it up completely, just leaving Cadian in a unwinnable situation. Yeah, I was going to say, Cadian, you forgot the op there, buddy. You're going to have to go back and get it. Goodbye here, though, nonetheless. Make the argument here. If MIBR wins this one, they're prone to be getting potentially 11 rounds on this T side, and it's very dominant. So very important round here from Heroic. MIBR will still be able to buy here next round somewhat, so feels a little bit safer for them. That's a nice entry here from Cadian onto niko.
That's a lovely shot, and I like this from tetza's, trying to get aggressive. Now, does extend himself a lot there into the apartments. I think he was hoping that, you know, he would have to drop on them on the back of that kill coming in from top mid. He could be a little speedy and get into a position he has no business being in, but instead it's just given over a 4-on-4. Now Heroic just having to play the waiting game, right? You're kind of forced to play reactively here, at least over towards the A site. Stavn is able to go for these little half-wall jumps at a pretty low risk, right? Not every day that you see someone nail that shot on a jumping player first time. So he gets the info, he sees the player's banana, falls back into this site. I think an important thing to pay attention to here is that Stavn doesn't have any more utility to put a stop to this push. So he is really just at the mercy of MIBR and what they're able to get away with. They throw this double kind of smoke corridor to get them into the site. And now looking for Cadian. They can't quite deal with him. There it is. There it is. Takes them a moment, but they do deal with him. And now it's niko and Bor upon for this retake. It's a 2-on-3 and a little bit awkward because the money isn't entirely put together for Heroic. And the last thing they want is to feel restricted moving into this last round of the half. So they're going to go ahead and save. They write that one off. And yeah, I think that's kind of, you know, it's not a decision you love making, but it is the safest decision to make, is just to keep your economy in good check and try again in the next round. Because with AWP entrenched on Yell, with the other 2 players being a mystery and that bomb being so far ticked, that round was kind of written off for Heroic.
Yeah, and even with Cadian's timing there as well, as you pointed out, there was no utility left on the Heroic, especially on the B bomb side. So when MIBR did that execute, especially with that smoke onto the site, really just chokes off the bomb side here completely and leaving Stavn in just a very tough spot to kind of deal with this. And yeah, I mean, it's a good call here on the save as well, right? Like as we talked about, it was very important for kind of Heroic to get that round win there, potential. But saving 2 weapons leaves them with just 2 SMGs instead, and still a good amount of utility. Opting for a 3B setup here early. And they're already down here. tetza's on the bomb side with the bomb flashbang, and he's going to fall back now. Like we've seen the same approach. And MIBR, I feel like, have been pretty good with this. Of either they go on timing fast here up in mid, but obviously now when they've lost that timing, we're back to just a regular default. We don't really care about banana all too much already at the moment, but as we know, obviously looking at the minimap, there's no smoke still on the banana bomb side on Heroic. So they're not going to be able to actually hold this. So they either have to just choose to fight or back up. Based on their aggressive positionings, they're probably going to be choosing to fight here.
Yeah, Stavn is getting reliable value. I feel like he's been playing extremely well the last few days I've seen him. And so he's there in that close position with the MP9, as you can see. Borup with the baits there, the jump peeking. That may indicate that Stavn is not playing so close, but there he is. He's able to take down one as well as as MIBR start to move through Porch, but 30 seconds to get the bomb planted now, and boltz is still trying to claim space on banana. Borup is not buying it though. He's actually going to peek for info. He sees that they're actually going to be committing A. He can find either a flank timing or, well, looks like that's what he's committing to. And in goes the committed push. They have no choice but to go on this. Charlie will take down Tessus in the trade, but it's still looking pretty labored here. CT's an advantage. Loads more position, time. Look how patient niko's playing. He can just rely on his teammates as well to help him out. And there's too much here for MIBR to deal with. And that seals the deal for the end of the first half. Heroic do manage to scrape together 5 rounds. It's going to be a tough final half for them. We'll have to see what they can do with it after the break.
We're back with map 2 second half between Heroic and MIBR. MIBR with a great T side there on Inferno. Looking to see if they can replicate that on their CT side. Got a tweet here talking about, we talked a little bit about jaCkz and the Latvian scene, or that scene in general, and I got a tweet today, and there's a lot of talent up and coming, based off of like level 10 faces and stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of Finland. I had no idea that he had almost 600 players level 10. But nonetheless, it's a 4-on-3, it's a pistol round on the way, so I'll shut up about faces levels and players here for a second.
Got that wine plants on the way, and that's not looking good for MIBR. They are in a terrible spot, of course. Totally isolated from one another, boltz and Yell. Tess is already looking to backstab one, and he's not the only one. For some reason, we've got Cadian walking around T-spawn. Maybe he left the oven on or something. And boltz is going to save his
Yeah, he's going. I mean, I guess he's just trying to. I mean, I'm guessing he's trying to clear T-spawn as well if he's there. Maybe he wants to save the $500 he has on him as well, with the HE flash being so low. You don't really have to chase. Yeah, I was gonna say you don't really have to chase. I mean, if you find him, it's great. But for boltz, there, same thing there. I'll make the argument of you're probably already gonna buy this round anyway. So by him not losing damage, he gets head armor with the armor he already had.
Big deal.
Yeah, he's a bit of a tank this round. Then all of a sudden, with Deagle head armor and a bunch of utility.
Yeah, against the Mag 10s, it makes a world of difference. All right, so let's see Heroic's approach here on the anti-force buy. They've got a really heavy presence towards banana. Looks like they might just go straight in. Yeah, no questions about it. Straight in. Mag 10's doing what they're supposed to. And the round's over. MIBR will save what they have and try again next time. Try again next round with these guns.
And that's always the argument that I make as well. Like, rounds like these, there is a chance to win them, but even if it's like a 30% chance, like you tend to. I like the fact of like overly stacking a little bit. If you don't hit your bomb site, you just have the same chance kind of again the next round. So I do like this from MIBR. There's no reasoning going for it. Sure, you can talk about wanting to do some damage and stuff like that, but any day of the week, you'd rather take a round win over getting 1 or 2 kills. So. Solid round nonetheless from Heroic, keeping all 5 members alive. 3 SMGs, 2 AKs, so even in a fully fledged weapon round, this would be considered very dangerous. Would be a lot of running and gunning.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. Like you look at MIBR, they really invested in utility. It looked like they wanted to go for one of those smoke delay play strategies, but that only, that relies on Heroic respecting the smokes, and they just, run you down. Like, they're already up through banana before MIBR are even ready for it. So You know, they've got 3 of those smokes still to do the delay play with the pistols. This time, though, you're going to be feeling a pressure to use that earlier, right? You don't feel as confident sitting back and holding on to it. And, you know, oftentimes when you're trying to do this, you're trying to get that clock down as low as you can before you even drop the first smoke, you know? Like, you want to be really making the most out of them. And this time, none of this utility going down over towards B. So, yeah, actually kind of the polar opposite of what I'm talking about. They still try and keep it restrained. And they might come to pay the price for it.
Yeah, I think this is a really smart play from Heroic. We talk about right off doing a full-blown execute when you know that they have an eco. And that's exactly what happens. Really just chokes off MIBR from the bomb side. They don't really get any crossfires going. And the first one to die is the one without the armor. So really just opens up the entire bomb side here. And again, if Heroic keeping all 5 members alive, doesn't matter if they have 3 SMGs or not. I mean, this is a really good start to this half by Heroic.
So they needed, especially due to the fact, statistically speaking, they win 45% of their T rounds and 55% of their CT rounds. So in that sense, it was an underperformance on their CT side statistically, and on their T side, they don't tend to do nearly as well. So definitely a start that they need to make this game really competitive. I'm curious what MIBR have though. And I like that we're seeing this fast pace, that they're just going to go straight up mid. They still have the Mag 10s, makes a lot of sense. Looking for that arch play. Yell, great position, jumps up onto the chair. Traded though, that's a very big kill to find. And they're pushing into spawn. Their pace is blinding right now.
Oh my god, and that flashbang as well. I can't believe boltz gets Cadian completely flashed. It's all falling apart here now from Heroic. We have to remember though, they had 3 SMGs, so it was a bit of a scrappy, fast round. But nonetheless, it's a great hold from MIBR, keeping 3 members alive at the same time, getting some extra utility as well. And as I pointed out, we even see Tessa said they haven't bought yet, but the whole thing of the dominance of the first 3 rounds puts Tessa at 11k, which is absolute bonkers. So for MIBR here, we talk about getting a grasp for this half. They're going to need 2 more rounds essentially to put Heroic on a potential save.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the mental things about the economy, right? Is like, to get into something on the CT side, especially if it's been fairly dominant in the first few rounds, it really does feel like a grind, you know? Like, you're always up against some kind of buy. They're always bringing the heat in terms of weaponry. They've got utility, and you don't have that same privilege. Like, really, you're needing to keep 4 players alive every round to be building up bank over on the CT side. 3, and you're, like, just about breaking even. So it is a lot harder to get established in that same way. And for MIBR, you know, the challenges are kind of just beginning. As you say, they need to take a few in a row to successfully chip away at all the money that Heroic have built up on a few of these guys. Tessez being one of them, sat there at 7 grand. So he wants something clean if MIBR want to keep this little streak going. And right now, they've got the read with 3 over here inside of the B site. Heroic maybe about to just throw this set piece in. They've got just the right amount of utility to make it happen. Smoke for Coffin, smoke for CT, Molotov at new box or oranges, and then flashes to supplement this push.
Oh, that's a very sloppy smoke there. I think it was Cello that threw that. Essentially creating a very nicely smoked. That's actually a benefit for Tease. You're gonna walk in here. The first kill is done. daNiko though through the smoke gets the 2 kills. Leaves it in a 3-on-3 situation now though. Not sure if they're gonna actually clear boltz. They won't. Nicely done by MIBR. That makes the read as well, putting 3 guys towards that B bomb site. And obviously the guy you don't expect to be there is probably most likely boltz.
Yeah,
all the way in the corner there in the box.
I love how they kind of bait Heroic into that false sense of security, right? Because daNiko is very, very purposeful that on the back of losing the first man, he's like, right, you know, don't you peek boltz. I'm going to be the next guy to make the play. Because then when they kill him, they go, oh, well, we killed the 2B players, you know?
Exactly.
And the fact that you're still getting engaged by players over at A makes you kind of lean into that line of thinking even more. And so, yeah, that was really, really well played. To have daNiko be the point man, to have him be the one to swing out, giving his life away and getting 2 in the process as well was brilliant. I don't think you could have asked for more from him. And then it just set boltz up to close the round out.
Yeah, and that was the 1 of 2 rounds that MIBR needed to put Heroic on a save. That 11k from Tessis went away real quick. Time to start cooking at home at this point. No more takeout. Because you are broke, sir. Nice entry. I really like this from Heroic. They do a lot of double boosts with the AWP. Getting some different angles as well. Obviously expecting potentially another AWP from MIBR holding the angle there. Does do a trade. Cadian is low, but a lot of map control is being given here now by Heroic and walking up to Archway. And based on timing, could find themselves here and just fighting the two guys. I'd argue here. MIBR's positioning here is really good. That's a great flash though, as I say that. And just because of that, daNiKo gets the kill though, but now they're searching the side.
Oof, the frags are really coming in nicely. SHC performing very well. Even though that flash was perfect and probably saved 2 players, it seems like they were always destined to die in this one. Cadian's left once again alone just to save the AWP. You know, we've been here before and it's not a fun prospect. What is the loss bonus right now for Heroic, actually? Have you guys been paying attention? Do we have the scoreboards?
It would be 3, right?
3? Okay. So, yikes. They're going to be in a really weird spot then on the buy. Like a half buy around Cadian's AWP, I suppose. I
think you do a half buy with Stavn and niko here, and you kind of go for a play where you kind of guarantees you the bomb. So you kind of come back into where you want it to be. Because the concerning thing here is obviously, again, like Cadian obviously needs to die, but once he dies, his money is just ruined for next round anyway. So getting that bomb plant or potentially seeing another safe round coming from Cadian, so at least he has an open armor coming into the next round after this one, but not something we want to think about. I do think, like I said, yeah, we're going to see a full buy here to the account for the AWP. It's not going to be as strong as the last few rounds, though. And then comparing that to... Actually, can we see, DJ, can we see UD, utility damage? I missed it. I was looking at the money. See if he hears me. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, look at that. And that's what I mentioned. Like, sure, we look at Heroic. Actually, their utility damage did get picked up here a little bit at the end there. But so actually, in terms of damage that we see, that's actually pretty impressive from them. Looking for the same thing here now on the MIBR side to increase that number a little bit. Always easier on the CT side.
Oh, that's a savage little Molotov that has to be extinguished. No getting around it. Also, you'll note, Heroic, yeah, they've gone for this force, right? They've fully thrown everything into this round. Now, this is the decision, really, that like makes or breaks this game. Either they pick up a win with these AKs, with this AWP on Cadian, and that's their means of getting back into the game, or they lose it. They go 8-14 down into an eco, or force buy. At that point, it's kind of down to how you want to play it. But that could be the thing that seals their fate. So you're relying heavily on these 3 weapons to do some heavy lifting here.
And this is the worrisome part here as well. When we talk about this Heroic buy that they did, look at their utility, and you could make the argument here of maybe we should have opted for a little bit more utility rather than what we have right now. There's not even a flashbang to clear an angle, just the 1 smoke left. A really bad spot to be in, because you can make the argument here as well of like, if you only have the 1 smoke, wouldn't you really want to maybe go banana instead of put it in CT spawn? And we do see Stavn moving back, but now they've wasted the smoke, so nothing left now. So now we're just looking at some clean, crispy headshots. If they were to hit this, but yeah, like I said, that's the start. Yeah, Stavn with the headshot on the cello. Bolts here though with a bit of a sloppy spray, just gets the 1 without any utility. Heroic gets this bomb site, 4-on-3 now, and man, oh man, very difficult spot to be in now if you're MIBR. I was just gonna say, I mean, you might as well save, because the problem that they have as well is they also don't have a utility to block off the angles, to clear out the angles. And as we know, Cadian picked up the AWP from killing, or rather from saving it from last round, so MIBR was aware of that. Smart call here from MIBR to just save.
See, while it's smart and it's playing the numbers game, it's also a pretty heartbreaking call, right? Because you know that you had Heroic right where you wanted them, and really the situation was even better than perhaps MIBR had even realized. Like you say, they had no utility, they had no way to get into that bomb site. They relied on finding the openers, and they get them both. And you know, like that's that's really, really rough because essentially everything was stacked against Heroic in that round. You know, like the money was against them in the kind of scope of the entire game, or like what's left of it. They had no utility, so that part was against them. You know, walking into an entrenched B site. It's even a situation where really the thing that sucks the most is like MIBR by taking those gunfights, you're giving Heroic exactly what they needed. You know, you gave them that way to build back into the round and actually make something of it. And so now, right now you're just kind of in this kind of weird limbo where you're trying to pick the pace back up, to come in fighting, and so they swing with that banana regression. But as you say, right, those money problems that MIBR were experiencing, the reason why they had to save, they're not gone away. They're not gone away entirely. They're not gone away at all, in fact. And so you will be like one round away from being reset, put onto an eco, and that can be Heroic's path back into the game in a very, very big way.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, as I mentioned as well, like they needed to land a headshot there, and obviously Cello, I don't think the intent for him was to, you know, keep on re-peaking. It's just more for information control being in the schools area, but him getting one blasted like that obviously puts bolts in just a really off position. It was really, I mean, when we talked about the win scenarios for Heroic on that round, that was it. You needed to land a headshot there. And they did, and to our points here as well, it's another slow round, but Heroic going to be taking this banana area. We know that Cello went down here earlier, so just having Yell here with the AWP. He still has a smoke and a Molotov, though. This is why you don't see the rotate coming in from MIBR yet. I was going to say he does feel comfortable enough of potentially, you know, being able to block that off, but just look at this. Heroic, nicely done, full-blown execute. Not giving Yell a single opportunity to get away as well. It's burned to a crisp on the bomb site by 2 mollies. And that's a counter in terms of the AWP angle we saw Stavn holding as well. It's a really good first angle where you kind of get the first shot and you're still very much safe. So having a double kind of Molotov there prevents people from standing there or potentially just running back. But you have to be very quick with hitting the bomb site as well, which you kind of saw from Heroic.
Heroic have been enjoying the fast pace, I gotta say. We've seen some really like explosive rounds from them.
I just like it because they're very much of the same caliber of, you know, when you go, you go. You know, there's no stopping really. And I quite like that. So the approach as well, that's why I think Heroic is very difficult to play against, because they do keep themselves as a unit a lot. And because they do have that explosive play in them, obviously trade game tends to be on point, which means you kind of have to show up individually if you were to have a chance against Heroic in this time. 3 saved weapons, and with that it will allow MIBR to do another buy here, but it's going to be 2 pistols though to kind of account for that as a semi-buy, to just account for these rifles for a potential of a new buy for next. And slow but steady, Heroic is clawing their way back into this map.
I mean, yeah, right. Thinking about this in the broad context, that it was, what, 8-0 at one point for MIBR? Was it 7-0? Yeah, 7-0, that's the one. You know, this is a really nice put-together comeback from Heroic. You got to complete it, though. You got to get all the way there. And I always think coming back T-side is at least nice, knowing that you can leave MIBR in a rough place where every round feels like a 2-for-1. That's kind of where we're approaching. There is still one player down here at short who could make a difference, but as I say it, he's wiped out by niko, who provides all the entries there alongside tabseN. This is a lock-in. This is done. It's the save for MIBR. 11 on the board for Heroic. And now things get scary, because, you know, like MIBR, they're trying to play things nice and standard here. They've lost some of that early aggression they didn't mind throwing in. You know, everyone's just kind of hunkering down in the sites, but that's allowing Heroic to have a lot of control, right? And everything's kind of happening on their say-so.
Yeah, and like you said as well, I think because of the fact that Heroic hasn't really fought for banana early a lot, like it doesn't really give MIBR an opportunity to be like, oh, let's just take banana control, because I think that Heroic just has a really good approach there. I would say, though, for MIBR, we talked about, you know, there's not only early round aggression, obviously, there's also mid-round aggression of maybe pushing back to when you have some information from where Heroic might be. Let's say, for example, they do a smoke wall up in mid, for example, you might do a setup there with an expo flash and you fight mid just for some mid-round aggression, because I think that's right at the moment. That's really where MIBR is struggling here a little bit. I think Heroic because of the fact that they are staying so unified here as well, it's not giving MIBR a lot of opportunity to just get some free map control or some free map space of potentially getting an entry, working with the man advantage.
See, when Yell gets his ult back, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe an attempt at the mid duel or perhaps like a banana peek with that AWP. But, you know, it's always scary to try something like that at this scoreline because it's like, you know, when it works, you feel great. Like, it's a weight off your shoulders. You can go a man up nice and early. If it doesn't, and you're digging yourself into these man disadvantages, you know, it can feel really, really rough as the scoreline's getting closer and closer. You know, no one wants to be the first man to die in any of these rounds. And so that might force MIBR to... you know, like play things a little more passive and be more reluctant to have these openers go their way. Because as you say, like Heroic are playing very, very grouped. There's not very many like chances to snipe a man out and then get out of there. You know, you're not getting given that if you're MIBR at this point. This is a real brawl for this banana control. I don't know how TeXaS gets out of there with a kill. Like going for one, I think that's fine for him in that situation.
I think so, absolutely, right? Like, it's always an advantage here. You know, sure, Stavn is low as well, but you just lose so much map control with being just 4 alive. So is the one area that's going to be left. We see that from MIBR as well, leaving the B bomb site, or we're just about to. Depending on timing here now, daNiko's going to have a lot of work cut out for him. They know where he is too, so in terms of just staying alive and being sneaky, that's not going to be the case. But we do have the other remaining MIBR players here already, so 2-on-2 situation.
Ooh. Oh, that nade is so close. Bounce the wrong way though. Storm will go down anyway. Bolts in the 1v1. Doesn't know precisely where Cadian is, who does actually have to plant still. So Bolts didn't even necessarily have to go for it, but he knew that Cadian was on the side somewhere. Didn't want to allow him an inch to move, and he's going to take him down. That's going to make things interesting, you know, moving forward here.
Yeah,
it's definitely impressive by MIBR, I gotta say.
Absolutely, and you know, you make the argument here of, you know, if there's a less experienced player than daNiko there back on the side, he probably overpeaks a little bit more. But just, even though they know where he is, just the fact that he doesn't overpeak, he doesn't overextend, allows his teammates to come there ahead of time. So sure, he goes down, but then the guy's already in small pit and library, and the bomb doesn't have a chance to go down at the same time. So that's really what MIBR needed for sure. Quick rotates, just having 2 members alive though, in terms of trying to get their economy back in order. It's not going to be a thing. But Yell's still with the AWP though. SHC drops. Okay, it was a miss. No, okay, he drops. There we go. He drops the auto shotgun to daNiko. I think you said, Dan, that he went to apps with that last time. You might see the same.
Yeah, he's a menace on the around the A side with it. And the apps, indeed, every time he's busted it out, it's been successful. It's been a surprise. We'll see if he can find success, keep that consistency with it. It's so good hit. Oh, in the face! See ya. niko down. It's a gun to be collected. daNiko once, but if I were him, I'd probably keep that auto shotty at this point. Now the bomb is on Cadian, who has the AWP, who's alone at the bottom of banana. This is looking very dangerous. Look how isolated he is. He may even have a very odd push coming to him. daNiko making his way through or around the apartments. Could find him. What a weird situation, because there's not a huge amount of time considering everything that needs to be done here. TeXaS and Stavn walking through CT spawn, and you've got Bolts who's covering for this. Oh my god. Knife.
Are we gonna see a knife? We don't see that many, we haven't seen that many knives here so far this event.
Surely not the knife at 11:14. Yeah, man. Yeah, like, while he is like this wild stallion, it's like, yeah, man. Now he plays it safe. There's still a player in B, but they're going to clip banana. Their backs are turned. Bolts. Oh, he might just tear it away from them with that double kill. Cadian having to rotate in. Oh no, that was the chance for Heroic. That was the opportunity. But they go clear banana, worried on the back of seeing someone so aggressive, right, in Cadian's POV. They go back to help him, and they end up getting shot in the back. God, this feels terrifying. Cadian's just strolling around like this is all fine. Yeah, CT peek comes in. I was
That's a
wondering when
nice-
it was going to happen. It felt like it was only a matter of time, right? Just walking with your back turned to CT.
Yeah, that was a nice holding out from MIBR. Not paying attention to who we end up killing, but it's man of the hour on that B bombs not being sneaky. It's boltz again. Another 3 kill.
It's so
For
cool
him.
to see boltz doing so well, you know, again, and just being in a position to succeed. It felt like there was that moment when he was playing with Fallen a long time ago where his heart wasn't in it, and it didn't make sense. But regardless, we've got a fast push into this next round. Quick banana control for Heroic, although it will be retaken fairly quickly by MIBR. You do have that forward Molotov as well as that forward half-wall smoke. And they've cleared it now, so they can rotate players back off. It'll be up to Heroic to reinvest in banana. Quite a bit of utility to, I think, convince MIBR to rotate players back. And they are going to burst through this. I actually love this, but how many times has Charlie gotten value by just sitting in this smoke? Surely, if you've been watching their demos, surely you'd expect such shenanigans. He gets one at least, and gets all the info too.
Yeah, they were so quick on their rotates there as well from MIBR. Danako is already over at the B bomb site. We're trying to do a fake there with niko a little bit, but Danako again with a good trade. They should know, well, they would know that he's here now, so at least they do get the bomb site, but it's a 2-on-3 situation. Bomb goes down, only a Molotov left on Cadian. Borov has a flashbang as well. Need this round, otherwise we're going to map number 3.
Yeah, and it's this post plant to end it. Cadian and Borov, the two to try and keep the dream alive for Heroic. Flash is going in, the Brazilians being fast on the approach, and they've already knocked one of them out. But oh, Borov, surprise 2K, there's the trade from Yell. And there's enough time for the defuse. He scares us a bit getting off of it, but there it is. MIBR, they lock in this map, and now they send us to a third. Man, okay, so now we got a real series on our hands, right?